The throne room of the Endurance was cold and quiet. Empress Sakura Chen sat perfectly still in her chair, watching the aliens across from her. They looked like walking crystals, catching the light and breaking it into colors. Beautiful, she thought, but dangerous. Everything beautiful in the galaxy seemed dangerous these days. The Cathari delegation stood in a half-circle. They did not speak. They could not speak, not the way humans did. Instead, they flashed lights from inside their transparent bodies. The translators worked hard to turn those lights into words humans could understand. "The treaty is acceptable," the lead Cathari's light said through the machine. "But we require assurance." Sakura knew what was coming. She had done this dance before with a dozen other species. "What assurance do you need?" "A ward. One of our young will stay with you. If the treaty holds, she will be returned. If war comes again—" The Cathari's lights flickered in a pattern the translator could not read. Sakura understood anyway. A hostage. They wanted to give her a hostage. She had 3 already from other species, kept in comfortable rooms, treated well, but still prisoners. What was one more? "Bring her forward," Sakura said. The Cathari parted, and a smaller figure moved between them. She was perhaps 4 feet tall, her crystalline body clearer than the others, with fewer colors inside. Young, Sakura realized. Very young. The girl's name was Ilseth. The translator spoke it, and Sakura repeated it, testing the feel of it. Ilseth's internal lights pulsed rapidly. Fear, probably. Sakura had learned to read alien body language during the war. She had learned many things during the war that she wished she could forget. "She will be safe," Sakura promised. "You have my word." The Cathari left without ceremony. They did not believe in goodbyes. Ilseth stood alone in the middle of the vast throne room, her body catching the light from the windows that showed the stars outside. Sakura stood and walked down from her throne. Her guards tensed, but she waved them back. She stopped a few feet from Ilseth and looked at her. Up close, she could see patterns inside the crystal like frozen lightning. "Do you understand me?" Sakura asked. Ilseth's lights flashed. The translator said, "Yes, I have a translator implant. Your words become light for me. My light becomes words for you." "Good. Commander Reeves will show you to your quarters. You will be treated well here." Ilseth's lights pulsed again, that same rapid pattern. Then she flashed a question. "What was that vibration from your mouth?" "Before the words?" Sakura frowned. "What vibration?" "When you spoke. The translator gives me the meaning, but there was something else, something that came before the meaning. All humans do it." Sakura realized what she meant. Sound. The Cathari had never heard sound. They lived in space, in crystal ships, in silence. The very idea of sound was foreign to them. "It is called sound," Sakura said. "It is how we communicate naturally. The vibrations travel through air and enter our ears." "Oh." Ilseth's lights dimmed as if she was thinking. "Is it important?" Sakura almost said no, almost dismissed it, but something stopped her. "Yes," she said instead. "It is very important to us." The days passed. Ilseth was given a suite of rooms near the diplomatic wing. She had everything she needed, but Sakura knew she must be lonely. The other hostages, at least, could speak to the crew. Ilseth could only flash her lights and wait for the translator to catch up. Sakura tried not to think about her. She had a war to finish, a peace to maintain, 1,000 problems that needed her attention. One alien child was nothing compared to that. But reports kept coming to her desk. Small things. Ilseth had been found standing outside the crew quarters, watching. Ilseth had spent 3 hours in the observation deck. Her body pointed toward a group of engineers who were talking and laughing. Ilseth had asked the kitchen staff why they made noises while they worked. She is obsessed with sound, Commander Reeves reported. She keeps asking about it. The crew doesn't know what to tell her. Sakura rubbed her temples. She had not slept well in weeks. Let her explore. As long as she does not go anywhere restricted, allow it. That night, Sakura could not sleep at all. She gave up trying and walked through the ship's corridors. The night shift crew saluted as she passed. She barely noticed. Her mind was far away, thinking about things she tried not to think about. Earth, home, the world that no longer existed. She found herself in the observation deck without meaning to. The stars spread out before her, billions of lights in the darkness. Somewhere out there had been a small blue planet. Somewhere out there her home had turned to glass and ash. She was not alone. Ilseth stood by the windows, her body perfectly still. Sakura almost left, but something made her stay. "You cannot sleep either?" Sakura asked. Ilseth turned. Her lights pulsed in that nervous pattern. "I was watching the guard. He was making vibrations. Not words. Something else." Sakura looked. A young soldier stood at his post near the door. He was humming, just a quiet tune to pass the time. He probably did not even know he was doing it. "That is called humming," Sakura said. "It is a kind of music." "Music?" Ilseth's lights brightened with curiosity. Sakura was too tired to explain, too tired to maintain the wall she kept between herself and everyone else. So she did something she had not done in years. She hummed. Just a few notes of an old song, a lullaby her mother had sung when she was very small. Ilseth went completely still. Then her whole body began to glow. Colors Sakura had never seen before swirled inside the crystal. Ilseth's lights flashed rapidly, desperately. "What is that?" the translator said, but the emotion in those lights went beyond words. "What is that feeling? Why does my body feel strange? What are you doing?" Sakura stopped humming. She stared at Ilseth, at the colors still swirling inside her. "You felt something?" "Yes, something. I do not have words. My body resonated, like when we communicate with other Cathari, but different, stronger, stranger. Please, what was that?" Sakura felt something crack inside her chest, something she had kept frozen for a very long time. She looked at this alien child, this crystal being who had never heard sound, who had just experienced music for the first time. "That," Sakura said quietly, "was a melody. From Earth. From my homeworld." "Earth?" Ilseth's lights formed a question mark pattern. "Where is Earth?" "Gone," Sakura said. "Destroyed, long ago." Ilseth dimmed, and Sakura knew somehow that the alien girl understood loss. They stood together in silence, human and Cathari, looking out at the stars. But it was not complete silence. The guard was still humming his tune, and Ilseth's crystal body was still glowing with colors that had no name, resonating with something she had never known existed until tonight. Ilseth became a shadow in the Endurance. She followed the crew everywhere, watching, learning. She stood outside the mess hall during meals. She waited near the engine room where workers sang old spacer songs to pass the time. She discovered the recreation deck where off-duty personnel played instruments. The crew found it strange at first. Then they found it amusing. Then, slowly, they began to help her. A maintenance worker explained what a drum was. A pilot taught her the difference between a happy song and a sad song. A doctor played violin for her and watched her crystal body dance with colors. Commander Reeves reported all of this to Sakura. "Should we stop her, ma'am? She is supposed to be confined to the diplomatic wing." Sakura surprised herself by saying, "No, let her learn." She told herself it did not matter. It was just a way to keep the hostage occupied. But she knew she was lying. She remembered the look of wonder in Ilseth's lights when she had hummed that lullaby. That wonder had reminded her of something she thought she had lost. Hope, maybe, or innocence. 2 weeks passed. Sakura's advisors brought her a proposal. The science team wanted to build a better translator for Ilseth, one that would let her understand sound more completely and let humans understand her light speech more clearly. It will cost resources, the chief scientist said, but it could help us understand the Kthari better, for future negotiations. Sakura approved it immediately. She did not examine why too closely. The new device took 3 days to build. It was a small crystal worn around Ilseth's neck, connected to her nervous system. When humans spoke, the device turned the sound into light patterns that played directly into her consciousness. When she flashed her lights, the device created sound that matched the emotion she was trying to express. They tested it in a small medical bay. Ilseth stood very still as the device activated. A technician said, "Hello. Can you understand me?" Ilseth's body flared bright. Her lights pulsed, and the device created a voice. It was soft and musical, like wind chimes. Yes, I can feel the shape of your words now. Not just the meaning, the shape." The technician laughed. "That's great. How does it feel?" "Like I have been deaf my whole life and now I can hear," Ilseth said. Then quieter, "Is this what it is like for you, all the time?" "Yes," the technician said. "All the time." Ilseth was quiet for a long moment. "You live in such a loud universe." News of the successful device reached Sakura during a council meeting. She was listening to generals argue about fleet positions, barely paying attention. When the message came through, she stood abruptly. "This meeting is over," she announced. "Reconvene tomorrow." The generals protested, but she was already walking out. She went straight to the medical bay. The technicians had left, but Ilseth was still there, standing by the window, listening to the hum of the ship's engines. "Empress," Ilseth said, turning. Her new voice was filled with surprise. "I did not expect you." "How is the device?" Sakura asked. "It is wonderful. Everything is wonderful. The ship breathes. Did you know that? I can hear it breathing, and there are voices everywhere, even when no one is speaking. The universe hums." Sakura found herself smiling, a real smile, not the diplomatic mask she usually wore. "Yes, it does." "Will you?" Ilseth dimmed slightly, shy. "Will you make that sound again? The melody from Earth?" Sakura should have said no. She should have maintained the distance between an empress and a hostage. But she was tired of should. She had been tired of it for years. She hummed the lullaby again. Just a few notes, but this time Ilseth could truly hear it. The alien girl's whole body lit up like a star. Colors Sakura could not name swirled inside the crystal. Ilseth swayed slightly, as if moved by wind. "It is the most beautiful thing I have ever experienced," Ilseth whispered. "Is all human music like this?" "There are many kinds," Sakura said. "Happy songs, sad songs, angry songs, love songs. We have been making music for thousands of years." "Teach me," Ilseth said immediately. "Please, I want to understand." Sakura started to refuse, but she looked at Ilseth's eager lights, at the hope in her crystalline form, and something in her broke. Or maybe something healed. She could not tell the difference anymore. "All right," she said. "But not here. Come with me." She led Ilseth to her private quarters. The guards outside looked shocked but said nothing. Inside, Sakura's rooms were sparse: a bed, a desk, a small shelf with a few books, and in the corner, covered in dust, an old guitar. Sakura picked it up. She had not touched it in 5 years, not since Earth died. "My mother taught me to play," she said, sitting down. "Before the war, before everything." She strummed a chord. The sound filled the room. Ilseth gasped, her body ringing like a bell in response. "It talks back to you," Ilseth said in wonder. The instrument talks back. Yes, Sakura said. In a way. She played. Simple songs at first. A folk tune from old America, a children's song from Japan, a marching rhythm from the colony worlds. She played, and Ilseth listened, her body changing colors with each new melody. Hours passed. Sakura had not meant to spend so long, but she could not stop. It felt good to play again. It felt like coming home. Finally, she set the guitar down. That is enough for tonight. Thank you, Ilseth said. Her voice was quiet, reverent. Thank you for sharing your music with me. Sakura nodded. Go rest. We can do this again. Sometime. Ilseth left, but her colors still seemed to glow in the dark room even after she was gone. This became their routine. Every few nights when Sakura could not sleep, she would send for Ilseth. They would sit in her quarters and she would play music. She taught Ilseth about rhythm and melody, about harmony and discord. She explained how humans used music to celebrate, to mourn, to remember, and slowly, carefully, she began to tell Ilseth about Earth. It was blue, Sakura said one night, playing a slow, sad tune. Blue oceans, blue skies. We evolved there. Everything about us was shaped by that world. The way we see color, the way we hear sound, all of it came from Earth. What happened to it? Ilseth asked. Sakura's fingers stumbled on the strings. She stopped playing. War. The Surkath Dominion glassed it, burned it to ash. 3 billion people died in a single day. I am sorry, Ilseth said. So am I, Sakura replied. Every day, every single day. They sat in silence. Then Ilseth asked quietly, Is that why music is so important to humans? Because you lost your homeworld? Sakura looked up. She had never thought of it that way, but Ilseth was right. After Earth died, humans had clung to their music like drowning people clung to wreckage. Songs became sacred. Old melodies were preserved with desperate care. Music was all they had left of home. Yes, Sakura said. I think that is exactly why. Ilseth moved closer. Her crystalline body was warm, radiating the energy she absorbed from light. Then I understand. When my people sent me here, I thought I had lost everything. But you lost your whole world, and you still make beautiful sounds, you still create music. How? Sakura picked up the guitar again. She played a single clear note that hung in the air between them. Because, she said, if we stop making music, then we really have lost everything. Ilseth's colors swirled, deep blue and gold. Understanding, agreement, and something else. Something that looked almost like love. The message from the Kthari homeworld came during breakfast. Sakura was eating alone in her quarters, reviewing reports, when Commander Reeves burst in without knocking. We have a situation, he said, his face pale. Sakura set down her cup. Show me. The Kthari transmission was brief and cold. They wanted Ilseth returned immediately. The treaty was stable. The ward was no longer necessary. She had been gone for 3 months. That was long enough. And if we refuse? Sakura asked. They are calling an emergency council meeting. If we do not return her within 2 weeks, they will consider it an act of aggression, possibly war. Sakura dismissed Reeves and sat alone in the dark. She should return Ilseth. It was the logical choice. One alien girl was not worth risking another war. The coalition had barely survived the last one, but when she closed her eyes, she saw Ilseth's colors swirling as she heard music for the first time. She heard that soft, wondering voice asking questions about Earth, about songs, about why humans cried when they sang certain melodies. She called a meeting with her senior advisors. They filled her council chamber, military officers and diplomats and politicians. All of them had opinions. Return her, General Zhao said. We cannot afford another war. Agreed, Ambassador Singh added. The Cathari are influential. If they turn against us, other species may follow. But she is just a child, someone else argued. She is a political tool, Zhao snapped. Nothing more. Sakura let them argue. She said nothing. Finally, they turned to her, waiting for her decision. I need time to think, she said. Dismissed. They filed out, frustrated but obedient. Only Reeves remained. You are going to refuse, aren't you? He said quietly. I have not decided. Yes, you have. I can see it in your face. Ma'am, with respect, you are letting your emotions cloud your judgment. The girl is a hostage. That is all she has ever been. Sakura looked at him coldly. Is there anything else, Commander? Reeves sighed. No, ma'am. He left. Sakura sat alone again. Reeves was right. She was being emotional, foolish, weak. But she could not help remembering the way Ilseth had looked at her when she played the guitar. Like Sakura was performing a miracle, like she was sharing something holy. That night she sent for Ilseth. The girl arrived quickly, her colors bright with happiness. Empress, I was hoping you would call. I have been practicing something. Listen. Ilseth began to hum. It was rough and imperfect, but recognizable. The lullaby. Sakura's lullaby. My body can make the sounds now, Ilseth said proudly. It is hard, but I am learning. Soon I will be able to sing like humans do. Sakura's chest felt tight. Ilseth, we need to talk. The alien girl dimmed. Something is wrong. Your people want you back. In 2 weeks you will be returned to them. Ilseth went very still, very dark. Oh, I am sorry. I know you were happy here. I was, Ilseth said softly. I was very happy. I learned so much. About sound, about music, about humans, about you. Your people will be glad to have you home. Will they? Ilseth's colors flickered uncertainly. I am different now. I hear things they cannot hear. I understand things they do not understand. I tried to tell them about music in my reports, but they did not comprehend. They think it is just noise, just vibrations. They do not know what it feels like. Sakura stood and walked to the window. The stars looked very far away. Perhaps you can teach them, the way I taught you. Perhaps. Ilseth did not sound convinced. Empress, may I ask you something? Yes. If you could return to Earth, even though it is destroyed, would you? Sakura turned. What do you mean? If you could go back and see the ashes, walk on the dead ground, would you do it? Or would it hurt too much? I do not know. I think you would, Ilseth said, because even ruins are better than nothing. Even ashes are home. Her colors shifted to deep purple. Sadness. My homeworld is not destroyed, but when I go back, I will be alone. None of my people will understand what I have learned. I will be surrounded by silence again. Sakura felt something break inside her. She crossed the room and knelt in front of Ilseth, looking directly at her crystalline face. I will teach you every song I know, she said fiercely. Every melody from Earth, every tune humans have ever made. You will carry them with you. You will never be silent again. Ilseth's body flared like the sun. You would do that? For me? Yes. For the next 2 weeks, they barely slept. Sakura canceled meetings. She ignored reports. She devoted every moment to teaching Ilseth music. They worked through the ship's entire archive of human songs, work songs and war songs and love songs and funeral dirges, operas and symphonies and simple folk melodies. Ilseth absorbed all of it. Her crystalline body was perfect for storing information. Every song Sakura taught her she could replay exactly. Every note, every rhythm, every subtle variation. You are becoming a library, Sakura said on the 10th night, exhausted. A living library of Earth's music. I want to remember it all, Ilseth said. When I am gone, I want to remember you and the sounds you made. Sakura picked up her guitar one last time. There is one more song I need to teach you. The hardest one. What is it called? Danny Boy. It is very old. From a place called Ireland on Earth. It is about saying goodbye to someone you love. She began to play. The melody was simple but heartbreaking. She sang the words in a language that no longer had native speakers. Her voice cracked on the high notes. She had not sung this song since her mother's funeral. When the meadows are hushed and white with snow, 'tis I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. When she finished, there were tears on her face. She had not cried in years. She had not allowed herself to cry. Ilseth was shaking. Her entire body trembled with colors that were almost black. That is the saddest thing I have ever heard, she whispered. Why would you create something so sad? Because, Sakura said, wiping her eyes, sometimes sadness is beautiful too. Sometimes grief is the only honest thing we have. Ilseth moved closer. Her crystal form touched Sakura's hand, warm and smooth. I do not want to leave you. I do not want you to go either. Then let me stay. Tell them no. Sakura shook her head. I cannot risk another war. Too many people have died already. I cannot sacrifice millions for one person. Even one person I care about. I understand, Ilseth said. But her colors said she did not. Not really. The next morning, Sakura woke to alarms blaring through the ship. She ran to the bridge, still in her nightclothes. What is happening? Surcath ships, Reeves shouted over the noise. 12 of them dropping out of hyperspace. They are targeting us directly. Battle stations. Get me a firing solution. The bridge erupted into controlled chaos. Sakura stood at the center of it, her mind cold and clear. The Surcath, the species that had killed Earth, the enemy she had fought for 30 years. The first explosion rocked the ship. Sakura grabbed a console to keep her balance. Return fire! Get the civilians to the shelters! Empress! A ensign's voice cut through the noise. The Cathari ward! She is not in her quarters! Sakura's blood went cold. Find her! Now! Another explosion, closer this time. The lights flickered, and somewhere in the chaos, Sakura heard something impossible. Someone was singing. The singing came from everywhere and nowhere. It echoed through the corridors of the Endurance, clear and high, cutting through the alarms and explosions. A human voice. No, not quite human. Something else, something crystalline and pure. Find that signal, Sakura ordered. Find where it is coming from. The communications officer worked frantically at her console. It is broadcasting on all frequencies, ma'am. Coalition, civilian, even Surcath channels. The source is Deck 7. Near the communications array, Sakura ran. Her guards tried to follow, but she was faster, driven by fear and understanding. She knew who was singing. She knew what Ilseth was doing. Deck 7 was chaos. Fire suppression systems sprayed foam everywhere. A hull breach had sealed itself automatically, but the floor was scorched and twisted, and in the middle of it all, surrounded by broken equipment, stood Ilseth. The alien girl had positioned herself in front of the communications array. Her crystalline body was cracked in dozens of places, light bleeding out of her like blood. But she was singing. She was singing Danny Boy in that perfect, heartbreaking voice and broadcasting it across space. Ilseth! Sakura ran to her. What are you doing? You need to get to safety. Ilseth turned. Her colors were fading, growing dim. I am helping. I am doing what humans do. I am making beauty in the darkness. Another explosion rocked the ship. A support beam fell from the ceiling. Sakura pulled Ilseth aside, but not fast enough. The beam caught the alien girl's shoulder and she shattered. Pieces of crystal fell to the floor, each one still glowing faintly. "No!" Sakura caught her, cradling the broken form. "No, no, no, stay with me." "It does not hurt," Ilseth said. Her voice was getting quieter. "I can still sing. Listen." She kept singing. Even broken, even dying, she sang. The melody poured out of her cracks, each fragment of her body creating its own harmony. It was the most beautiful and terrible thing Sakura had ever heard. The battle raged around them. Sakura held Ilseth and listened to her sing and felt something fundamental break inside her chest. This was her fault. She should have sent Ilseth home. She should have kept her distance. She should have remembered that everyone she cared about eventually died. "Why did you do this?" Sakura whispered. "You taught me," Ilseth said. "You taught me that humans create beauty even when they are afraid, even when they are dying, even when their whole world is ash. You taught me that music is how you fight back against the darkness. I did not teach you to sacrifice yourself." "Yes, you did." Ilseth's colors flickered. "Every song you taught me was about humans who gave everything for what they loved. The soldiers who sang marching songs, the mothers who sang lullabies, the lovers who sang goodbye. You taught me that this is what it means to be brave." On the bridge, Commander Reeves was watching scanners in disbelief. "Sir, something is happening. The Surcath ships are slowing down. I think they are listening." "To what?" a officer asked. "To the singing." The transmission was reaching across space. Every ship in range, human and alien, was receiving it. Ilseth's perfect crystalline voice, singing a human goodbye song, broadcasting on every frequency, and the aliens were stopping to listen. "Coalition ships are reporting in," communications said. "The Terrans want to know what the sound is. The Vex are asking for translation. Even some of the Surcath crews are hesitating." Reeves made a decision. "Broadcast everything. Every Earth song in our archives. Fill the space with music. If they want to listen, let them listen." The Endurance became a concert hall in the middle of a battle. Symphonies and rock songs and ancient chants poured out into the void. The Surcath formation broke apart, confused, uncertain, and then something impossible happened. The Cathari arrived. 50 crystalline ships dropped out of hyperspace, their hulls gleaming in the starlight. They positioned themselves between the Endurance and the Surcath fleet. A transmission came through. "We have heard the broadcasts. We have heard the Songchild. We are here." Sakura looked down at Ilseth in shock. "Your people came." "They heard me," Ilseth whispered. Her voice was almost gone now. "They heard the music, and they came." The Cathari ships began to glow, all of them in unison, creating patterns of light that matched the rhythm of the songs. They were dancing. The Cathari, who had never known sound, were dancing to human music. Other species joined in. The Terrans, the Vex, even some of the neutral merchant vessels. They formed a wall around the Endurance, protecting it. The Surcath, outnumbered and confused, began to retreat. But Sakura barely noticed. She was focused on Ilseth, on the cracks spreading through her crystalline body. "Hold on. The medical team is coming. They will fix you." "I do not think they can," Ilseth said. "I am breaking. The matrix is failing." "No, you are going to be fine. You have to be fine." "Empress." Ilseth's colors were almost gone now, just faint flickers of light. "Will you sing me the Earth melody again? The one from the beginning. The lullaby." Sakura's hands were shaking. There were tears streaming down her face. "I cannot. My voice will not work. Please, I want to hear it one more time. I want to remember how it felt when you first shared it with me." Sakura closed her eyes. She gathered every piece of strength she had left, and she sang. Her voice was broken and rough. She could barely get the notes out. But she sang the lullaby, the one her mother had taught her, the one from Earth. And as she sang, something miraculous happened. Ilseth's body began to change. The cracks stopped spreading. The light inside her grew brighter. Her crystal form started to resonate with the melody, absorbing it, becoming it. She was transforming at a molecular level, her structure rewriting itself around the music. The medical team arrived and stopped, staring. What is happening to her? I do not know, Sakura said. But do not interrupt. She kept singing. The crew gathered around, dozens of them, all watching as Ilseth changed. Other humans began to join in, humming the lullaby, then singing the words, then harmonizing. The ship itself seemed to sing. The engines thrummed in rhythm. The hull resonated. The very metal and plastic and crystal of the Endurance became an instrument. Ilseth's cracks filled with light. Her broken pieces fused back together, but different now, stronger. She was no longer just crystal. She was something new, something that could hold sound and light at the same time. When the song ended, Ilseth opened her eyes. They were human eyes now, or as close as a Cathari could have. Organic and crystalline, mixed together. I can feel the vibrations inside me, she said in wonder. They are part of me now. The music lives inside me. Sakura pulled her close, holding her tight. You are alive. You are alive. Yes, Ilseth said. And I will never be silent again. On the bridge, Reeves watched the scans of Ilseth's new form. He had no idea what she had become. A hybrid, a bridge between species, a living song. But he knew one thing for certain. The galaxy had just changed. And humanity's greatest weapon was not guns or ships or tactics. It was their ability to create beauty so profound that even their enemies stopped to listen. The war did not end that day, but something changed. The Surcath retreated, confused by what they had witnessed. The coalition held, and word spread across the galaxy about the Cathari girl who had transformed while singing a human song. Ilseth recovered slowly. Her new body was strange to her, neither fully crystal nor fully organic. She could feel things now. Temperature, texture, pain. But she could also still create light, still communicate the way Cathari did. She was both. She was new. What am I? She asked Sakura one night, looking at her reflection in a window. You are yourself, Sakura said. That is enough. But the scientists had other ideas. They studied Ilseth carefully, gently, with her permission. They discovered that her transformation had been triggered by the combination of sound vibrations and her crystalline biology. The music had literally rewritten her genetic code. You are unique in the known galaxy, the chief scientist told her. You can process sound and light simultaneously. You can store information in both formats. You are a living bridge between two types of communication. Can others become like me? Ilseth asked. We do not know. Perhaps, if the conditions are right. Word reached the Cathari homeworld. They sent ambassadors, confused and concerned. Their ward had become something they did not understand. They wanted her returned immediately for study. Sakura sat in the council chamber with the Cathari representatives. Ilseth sat beside her, no longer a hostage but a guest, an equal. She is transformed, the lead Cathari's light said. This was not part of our agreement. We demand an explanation. I chose this, Ilseth said, her new voice steady. No one forced me. I heard human music and I wanted to understand it. I wanted to carry it inside me. And when I was dying, the music saved me. You are no longer Cathari. I am still Cathari, Ilseth replied, but I am also something more. I can teach our people about sound, about music, about a whole spectrum of experience we have never known. The Cathari were silent for a long time. Then they surprised everyone. "Show us," they said. So Ilseth sang. She stood in front of the Cathari delegation and sang every song Sakura had taught her. She sang work songs and lullabies and war anthems. She sang Danny Boy, that sad goodbye song. And as she sang, her body created light patterns that matched the emotions of the music. The Cathari watched, and slowly their own bodies began to resonate. They could not hear the way Ilseth could, but they could see the light. They could feel the vibrations. They began to understand. When Ilseth finished, the lead Cathari's lights pulsed rapidly. "We need time to process this, but we see value in what you have learned. We withdraw our demand for your return. You may stay if the Empress agrees." Sakura nodded. "She may stay as long as she wishes." The Cathari left, but they promised to return. They wanted to learn more. Other species did too. Requests flooded in from across the coalition. Everyone wanted to understand this human thing called music. Sakura made another decision that surprised her advisors. "We will build a place for this, a school, an academy, where any species can come to learn about human music and culture." "That will be expensive," Ambassador Singh warned. "So was the war," Sakura replied. "This is a better use of our resources." 5 years passed. The Conservatory of Earth was built on a small moon, a beautiful campus of glass and gardens and concert halls. Teachers came from every human world, bringing their instruments and their songs. Students came from dozens of species, each trying to understand this strange human art. Ilseth was its first ambassador. She taught other aliens how to experience music. Some species heard it. Some felt it as vibrations. Some perceived it as heat or electromagnetic radiation. But all of them could sense it somehow, and all of them were changed by it. The war with the Surcath ended not with a treaty but with a concert. Sakura herself proposed it. "Let us meet on neutral ground. No weapons, no ships, just music." The Surcath agreed, curious. They had never understood humans. Humans fought with such passion, such fury. Where did it come from? The concert was held in space, broadcast across the galaxy. Human musicians played everything from classical symphonies to screaming rock music. Ilseth sang with them, her voice weaving between the instruments. And the Surcath listened. When it was over, the Surcath commander sent a message. "We understand now. You fight to protect this beauty, this music. We can respect that." It was not forgiveness. Earth was still dead. 3 billion people were still gone, but it was the beginning of peace. Sakura watched from her quarters aboard the Endurance. She was older now, her hair more gray than black. She had announced she would step down as Empress next year. It was time for someone younger to lead. A chime at her door. "Come in." Ilseth entered. She had grown taller over the years, her hybrid body maturing in unexpected ways. She carried a guitar, the same one Sakura had played years ago. "I have been practicing," Ilseth said. "I want to show you something. Please." Ilseth sat and began to play. It was a new song, one Sakura had never heard. The melody was human, but the harmonics were alien. Crystal clear notes that no human instrument could make. It was beautiful. It was heartbreaking. It was a bridge between two worlds. When she finished, Sakura was crying again. She seemed to cry more easily these days. Age, perhaps, or maybe just honesty. "What is it called?" she asked. "The Earth Melody," Ilseth said. "I wrote it for you, for everything you taught me. It is perfect." They sat together in comfortable silence. Outside the window, the conservatory moon gleamed in the distance. Thousands of students down there, learning, growing, discovering. "Do you ever regret it?" Ilseth asked quietly. "Teaching me, changing me, everything that happened." Sakura considered the question carefully. I regret that you were hurt. I regret the war. I regret that Earth is gone. But teaching you? No. Never that. I am glad, Ilseth said. She hesitated, then asked, Empress, may I ask you something? You have earned the right to call me Sakura. Sakura, then. Ilseth's colors shifted to soft gold. Affection. Will you sing me the Earth melody again? The lullaby, the one from the very beginning? Sakura smiled. It was the same request Ilseth had made 5 years ago, broken and dying on a ruined deck. But everything was different now. They were both different. Of course, she said. She closed her eyes and began to sing. The lullaby her mother had taught her. The lullaby from Earth. Her voice was older now, weathered by time and responsibility. But it was true. It was honest. As she sang, Ilseth joined in. Her hybrid voice wove around Sakura's human one, creating harmonies that should not exist. And outside the quarters, drawn by the sound, others began to gather. Human crew members, alien diplomats, students from the conservatory, Cathari, Terrans, even a few Surkoth. They pressed close to the door, listening. Some began to hum along, others swayed to the rhythm, some just stood in silence feeling something they had no name for. The Endurance carried the song into space. Its communication arrays broadcast the melody across the system. Ships picked it up and relayed it further. The lullaby spread like ripples on water, touching world after world. On the conservatory moon, teachers stopped their lessons and students raised their voices. On human colony worlds, people paused in their daily work and remembered Earth. On alien planets, species that had never heard music before stopped to listen to this strange, beautiful sound. The galaxy sang together. And in Sakura's quarters, the Empress and the alien girl, who was no longer quite alien, sat together, singing the Earth melody. Sakura's eyes were closed, but she could feel the warmth of Ilseth's presence beside her. She could hear the perfect harmonies. She could sense, somehow, all the other voices joining them across the stars. She had lost her homeworld. She had lost millions of people she was sworn to protect. She had lost her mother and her innocence and 30 years of her life to war. But she had not lost this: the music, the beauty, the ability to create something so profound that even enemies stopped to listen. The gift of teaching one curious alien girl about melodies and watching that gift spread across the galaxy. This was humanity's legacy, not weapons, not empires, not conquest, but this. The songs they sang in the darkness, the melodies they carried from a dead world, the music that refused to die. When the lullaby ended, Sakura opened her eyes. Ilseth was glowing softly, all the colors of Earth at sunset. "Thank you," the alien girl whispered. "Thank you for teaching me how to sing." "Thank you," Sakura replied, "for reminding me why we sing at all." Outside, the stars turned slowly in their ancient dance, and somewhere among them, in the black where Earth used to be, Sakura imagined she could hear an echo. All the songs ever sung on that blue world, carried on solar winds, spreading through the cosmos. They would never truly be silent. As long as someone remembered, as long as someone sang, the Earth melody would play on forever.